Welcome to WTF Stories and Advice. I'm Caroline Cranshaw.
And I'm Daryl Gove.
And we're back.
Prettier than ever.
Prettier, nastier, and more annoying.
I'm wearing lederhosen today.
Oh, Jesus. That's not a good look.
Lucky nobody can see.
Have you seen the movie Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo?
Male Gigolo. Yeah, it's hilarious.
And yeah, so he becomes a gigolo to, I don't know what you would call them, people that need a bit of help in the world or are unusual in some way. And there was this one scene where this woman has him dress up in lederhosen and is like, was he delivering something or?
It was so many years since I've seen it. All I can remember is some kind of cat lady. And
she had a dog, Wolfie, who was a German Shepherd. You can tell I've seen this movie too many times. Who kept trying to bust through the door, and so she had to run away, and she paid him $10 for his services.
Oh, lovely.
And he was like, $10? That's amazing. So that's all I think of is when you say lederhosen, Daryl, is you being a male gigolo.
Well, you know what? You have to have your options open career-wise.
The therapy gig doesn't work out for you. There's another thing you could do.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of my neighbours already think I'm a gigolo because they see these mainly women coming in and out of my house at random times of the day, coming in looking depressed, going out looking happy. So,
That's an interesting point.
People are bound to talk.
I wonder if people think that that's what I do. No, they are.
You've got a sign that says therapist outside your home. That could all be a ruse, of course.
Yes. Well, I'm moving to new offices soon, so that'll be good. It won't be in my home anymore, which it has been for a while, but I always had professional offices, but now something new. It's exciting.
Yeah. Also, I've just moved, and so my new clinic is also not going to be in my home.
That's cool.
That's pretty exciting. I think it's nice to be able to kind of leave the energy of work and therapy, even if you're not doing therapy, just of work in another building.
Yeah, I think so. I'm ready. So we have another listener's question, and this is actually a question I, as a therapist, get asked a lot and get asked for my advice about, and same with you.
Yes, we've read through it, and it's something I get a lot, not just in clinic, but also I have friends and family ask me about this topic.
Yeah, so here we go. So, hi, Caroline and Daryl. Love your show. Listen to every podcast. Can you please do more? So, yes, we're going to try to do that. Thank you very much. I have a problem. I've had this friend since we were children. She's been my best friend, but every time we hang out, she's always making these horrible comments. She talks shit about me behind my back. And I've always come away from hanging out with her with feeling like crap. I want to end the friendship, but we've been friends for so long, I feel guilty about doing that. Is it right to end a friendship, and how can I do it? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I won't say the name.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Very recently, actually, I was playing Fortnite online, so I'm a bit of a gamer.
Yeah.
And there was this guy playing, and he was saying how depressed he felt, and so I was like, have you spoken to your parents? Have you spoken to a counselor? Like, I try and bring it up, but nobody listens to me. And I was like, okay, here's some numbers of where you can call. The guy was in Australia, so I'm like, here's some helplines. Somebody on there will listen to you. I started asking some questions and doing some kind of therapizing while we're like killing people online. And one of the things I'd asked him to do is rank out of 10 how he felt before and after interactions with his friends. Because he was telling me that his friends were a big source of the problem. They were always saying things to him. They were down on him. And I think just having that awareness of how you feel when you're with someone can help to create change. It can help you to go, actually, do you know what? This person makes me feel shit every time I hang out with them. And then the answer has to be dump them.
Yeah. I love it. It makes me think of that quote. Before you diagnose yourself with anxiety or depression, make sure that you're not, in fact, surrounded by assholes.
Love it.
So it is. if you're around someone who's negative and toxic, it's going to bring you down and it makes you feel like crap. And I mean, for myself, I have ended several long-term, very close relationships or friendships. And I felt terrible at the time, but I knew I needed to do it for my own mental health. It's actually been something that's kind of set me free and made me feel, for me, I am allergic to drama and bullshit. Like, I'll put up with anything for a good friend. Not anything, but I am very supportive of friends that have a lot of issues. I'll be there for you. I have several friends that are going through some rough stuff now, and I am totally there for them. But if you try to put me down in front of people while I'm doing this for you, it's going to piss me off. And I think it's just, if anyone makes you feel bad about yourself, it's time to kind of cut it loose.
It's those exact words. It's cut them loose. Yes, friends go through a bad time. Yes, we all behave badly from time to time. But if you've got a friend that's constantly take, or constantly trying to put you down, okay, I get it. You're jealous of me and you want to put me down so that you can feel better yourself. But actually, that's not okay in a friendship.
No.
That's not going to work. And it's hard. Because, like you said, you get feelings of guilt. And you don't have to be mean to the friendships that you're ending, but you can just disconnect from them.
Yeah, it is. It's something you feel very guilty about. I have ended several friendships when it just suddenly, I think for me, I'm a very loyal friend. I'll be there for you thick and thin, but once I've had enough, I'm done. And you're dead to me, basically. And not that I wish any ill will, but I think you have to protect yourself first.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with people that don't make you feel like crap about yourself. And unfortunately, it's probably something that's going to happen over and over as you go through life. There are a lot of toxic people out there, and it's important to do what you can to protect yourself.
And I think, again, having that awareness that this person's bugging you enough to write in and say, what do I do about it? That's kind of information that maybe it's time to create some distance. I like to give people this concept, which is rank the people in your life A, B, or C. So the A's are the definite keepers, the people that you've got a good energy exchange with. They're going to do things for you. They're going to be there for you. They're going to support you. The C's are the people that just take. And then the B's are somewhere in between. And this isn't my theory, but it's one that I share. I don't know where it came from. Is if they're a C, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Cut them loose straight away. If they're a B, make them an A or they become a C. So no B people in my life. They either become an A or that means they're a C, and you get rid of them as well. Because people can drain your energy. Lately, when I've been doing therapy, I've been coming across a lot of clients who they've got stress or anxiety or depression. And I'm asking about their friends and their environment and to rate things, and they're just getting sucked dry from every angle. So part of healing and being whole and being a good role model is to have healthy friendships and just to, send people to therapy if that's what they need.
Absolutely. So I have some questions to ask to identify if someone is toxic, right? So here's some questions you can ask. Have you told this person if they do it again, that's it, you're done? Like if you've told someone in the past that please don't ever do that to me again, that, really hurts my feelings, or you let me down, or whatever it is, and they keep doing it, then that's no more chances for them, right? Like you teach people how to treat you, and if you're allowing someone to continually cross your boundaries, it's going to end up being, they're not going to learn their lesson, and you're just going to feel like crap. So if you've already told someone in the past not to do something and they continue to do it, that's a sign that they're a toxic person. Another one, are they always disregarding your boundaries? I guess that goes back to the other one.
Yeah.
Another question is, do they try to control you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this applies to friends and family members. If they, people who don't feel in control of their own lives have a tendency to want to control others. So toxic people look for ways to control the people around them, either through subtle manipulation, criticism, anger, or openly telling you, no, you can't do that. Oh. So another one to look out for is this person always right? Because people that are always right, they're a toxic person in my book, You know, if they rarely or ever acknowledge that they've messed up or said something hurtful, then it's just always going to be an unhealthy relationship. Some people, well, not necessarily, but, you know, like your parents, siblings, or some people that it's very hard to end those friendship or, you know, those connections or relationships. But I think if someone is just every interaction makes you feel like crap, you need to really think about whether or not you want this person in your life.
And I guess you can reframe as well. Like, let's say you've got a family member who makes you feel like crap. You can redefine, does spending time with this family member define a good relationship? Or is it spending time apart, living our own lives, but also being there if they need me for something? Like if there's an emergency, are we still there for each other? Maybe that is the kind of relationship that you need to have with more distance.
Just become very busy. So with ending a relationship, friendship, or with a family member, or just anyone who's toxic, just know that it can be a process. My advice is don't have them come to your house to do this. You want to go to their house so that you can leave, or you can write them a letter. If someone is really toxic, send them a text. I mean, you owe it to yourself to keep yourself emotionally safe. And if just so they can have closure, if it's going to like make you feel like crap about yourself, I don't think it's a good idea.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I think too many people put themselves through hell just to do the right thing. And it's like breaking up with anyone, be it a friend, a partner. You don't always have to do this face to face. Sometimes you need to protect yourself. I know for me, I always want to do the right thing and talk things through. And it's ended up being a nightmare for me while this person just like abuses me or has a massive emotional meltdown. And it's like, well, that's their process.
Or gaslight you and make you think that it's all your fault and you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I had this one, actually two friendships that ended in one night. When I moved to New Zealand, I was 18 years old. And so I'd left all my best friends, came to New Zealand and made a few really, really good friends. We did everything together. I had this one girl that I'll call Jane Doe.
Or bitch. No, I'm sorry.
Jane Doe. And we used to hang out a lot and go dancing. We moved in together, flatted together, worked together. We're really, really close. And then there was another girl that was in the group that we'll call Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway. Like Trump's spokesperson or whatever.
Oh, I suppose that's where that name comes from. But we'll call her Kelly.
Okay.
We'll call her Kelly. And
Kelly the cunt. No, sorry.
well, yeah. And
sorry, that's offensive to cunts.
so I was always kind of being like controlled and told what to do. And if there was ever a problem, I always had to apologize, even if I hadn't done anything wrong. And I didn't really pick up that these relationships were toxic until there was one day and we're at a quiz night. And I saw Jane Doe at the quiz night with her family, and I was there with Kelly and Kelly's brother. And we're trying to think of a team name, like what shall we call?
Oh, wait, so Kelly was okay? Or no?
So no, Kelly, I ended the friendship the same night of the quiz night with Jane Doe and Kelly.
Okay.
And so I'm at the quiz night with Kelly and Kelly's brother, and we're thinking of our team name. And somebody goes like, oh, we can call ourselves, what's her name? Jane Doe. And so like, okay, let's call ourselves the Jane Does. So we write Jane Doe. And I'm like, oh, that's not really funny. Like, Jane Doe's over there. She might not get the joke.
Yeah.
And so we debated for a while, and we ended up calling ourselves the Stupid Idiots. That was my idea, because we're stupid idiots. And so we get to the end of the first round, and we put our papers in, and they're reading the scores. And the presenter guy starts reading them out, like the Fluffy Bunnies, 8 points. The Tulips, 3 points. The Jane Doe is a stupid idiot, 4 points.
Oh no.
He'd been scored out, but he'd read it out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bad. So I went up and explained that no, we are just the stupid idiots.
Yeah.
And we're kind of getting evils from Jane Doe and her family.
I bet.
But we're like, okay. So on the next one, we just put the stupid idiots. We made it really clear. And come to reading out the scores. The Fluffy Bunnies, 7 points. The Tulips, 8 points. The Jane Doe is a stupid idiot. 8 points.
Was this guy trying to mess with you or what?
I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he caused a hell of a lot of problems that night. So I'm like, okay, I got to go and sort this out. I hadn't written the names down, had nothing to do with the Jane Doe be putting on there in the first place. I was just going to try and like make the peace. I'm always the peacemaker. So I go up to Jane Doe's table and her dad and her brother are just like kind of barrier her.
Yeah.
And like, what have you got to say? Don't say anything. Get away. Stay away. That kind of thing. I was like, oh, okay. So I just went back to my seat and I was like, I'm going to go. The situation is not comfortable anymore.
Yeah.
So I left the quiz night, went home. A few days later, I phoned Kelly. I'm like, so Kelly, have you spoken to Jane Doe? She's like, yeah, and she's really angry with you. And I'm like,
Me?
oh, why is she angry with me? And she's like, well, because of the quiz night and everything. And she's like, you better apologize. I was like, oh, okay, I'll phone up and apologize. And then I got off the phone. I'm thinking, hang on. A, Kelly knows exactly what happened and that it was not my fault, nothing to do with me. B, if somebody wants to end a friendship or be that angry with me over something like that and not even speak to me about it, then they're not worth being my friend.
Yeah.
So this mutual friend I had who was training to be a counsellor, she's like, she had this amazing high-pitched voice. She was like, when somebody's in my life and they're really toxic and I don't like them and they're mean to me, I just cut them loose. And you just cut them loose. And it was like she was hypnotizing me with just repeating the same thing.
Cut them loose.
If someone's toxic in your life, just cut them loose. Just cut them loose. Just cut them loose. And that doesn't have to mean sitting down and breaking up with them. For me, it meant not initiating any contact or conversation or answering any calls, which I didn't get any because they were so angry with me and waiting for me to apologize. And I was like, no thanks. I wish them love and light with whatever they're doing in their life. But when I got rid of those two friends, it opened the door to real friendships with nice people who were fair and lovely, because we can only service so many friends at a time. And if you're going to hold on to a friend just because you've known them a long time, because loyalty is an important value to you, then you're not going to have room for those good people in your life. Yeah, talk about it. Like you said, give them a chance. Say, this is my boundary. If you're going to blame me for things I haven't done and ask me to apologize for things that are not my fault and be angry with me for silly things that go wrong that have nothing to do with me, that's not going to work for me.
No, fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself and cut them loose. So there we go. So my advice is, if she's been a bitch, or your friend, or she's needy, clingy, or taking too much from you, if there's not an energy exchange, if you don't feel good every time you've seen her, or at least feel that there's been a reason for being there that's good for you or for her, then cut her loose.
Good advice. Yes, walking away from friendships that were toxic is definitely some of the best things I've ever done. And important. And, to be honest, I've had people end friendships with me as well. And I probably deserved it. I did deserve it at the time. So, and I learned from that. I learned lessons from that. So I think that you don't grow unless it's too painful not to. You don't really change unless it's too painful not to. So you got to do them a favor. But I would be pretty honest and just say, this is how it makes me feel. And I mean, what you could do is say, if you do it again, that's it. Set a boundary. If she does it again, then just cut her loose. So today, when we were teaching the hypnotherapy, we tell lots of stories about clients that we've seen, keeping it all confidential, of course, but we'll tell different stories of our experiences and basically to teach these people who are training to be therapists themselves on ways that you can handle situations that arise. So one story I told today was a story of this woman who contacted me, and she asked me if I could hypnotize her daughter to see if she was telling the truth or lying about something. And I said to her, well, what are you wanting to find out? What are you wanting to have me hypnotize her about? And it was the fact that her daughter had said that this woman's new partner had molested her. And she did not believe her.
Heavy.
She did not believe her. This girl was 15 years old. They had lived in another country for a long time. The mother met this man online and came to New Zealand and had a relationship with this man. And then the daughter moved over later. And then within only a month of being here, the daughter then said that the stepfather was molesting her. The mother did not believe her, wanted me to hypnotize her so she could watch and see if she was telling the truth. And I explained to this woman that hypnosis is not a lie detector test. You can lie easily under hypnosis. This is a big fallacy about hypnosis.
Yeah, people get really scared because they're like, oh, I'm going to tell you all my secrets. It's like, no, actually, if you don't want to say something, or indeed, if you want to lie, you can lie in trance.
Yeah, so you're not going to say anything that you'll find embarrassing or unless you want to. It's like you are when you're alert and aware. You're not going to go into anything unless you feel safe in doing so. So I explained to her, well, you can lie under hypnosis, so that really isn't going to solve your problem. But there's another thing I do, which is called kinesiology or muscle testing, and that is a way of asking the body or the subconscious mind questions. There's lots of different ways to do it, but the body can't lie, right? So I use this one on my kids all the time. Who did it? Put your arms out. You did it. And it's always right. And yeah, you just apply pressure to their arm and on their wrist. Like you have someone put their arm straight out. You ask them yes or no questions. If they're lying, then their body goes weak. Their arm will drop down and it's hard for them to keep it strong. So I explained to her that I could do this kinesiology or muscle testing and I could tell if she was not being honest with that. And then we could do some hypnotherapy or some type of therapy around the daughter. Either way, because either way she's going to need help, right?
Yeah.
If you're making false accusations, you need some help. And if you're telling the truth and you've been molested, you need some help. So I said, send her in. And this girl comes in with her mother. And mother is beautiful, lovely woman. And this girl she's quite tiny for her age. She looks like she's 15, but she looks about 11. She's tiny. And and when you're 11 years old, even though she wasn't, you go through a real awkward phase. I know I did. I had my hair cut like a boy. I looked like the biggest dork. When I was 11 years old, it was not the best looking time of my life. And she looked to me like she was going through that kind of awkward phase. And I remember my gut feeling going, nah, she probably is lying. This girl looks like she needs some attention. She's probably pissed off about her mother, in this new relationship. And she's had to move from her home country and the family that she grew up with. And I just didn't believe her. And she had this real snarly attitude. And I wasn't buying it. But so I send the mother away and I'm talking to this girl and I start doing the muscle testing with her. And she was telling the truth.
Yeah, wow.
She was telling the truth. And I was like, oh, I think you're telling the truth. And she's like, of course I'm fucking telling the truth. Why? Do you think I would lie about that? And ruin my whole mother's life and say this about some man? Do you think I'm an idiot? And I was like, obviously you're not. I'm sorry. I said, I'm really sorry that your mother hasn't believed you right away. So I said to her, well, I think actually it's your mother who needs the session with me, not you. So why don't I go and get your mom and we'll swap places? And she said, fine. You tell that bitch I am telling the truth. I'm like, okay. So I go and get the mother and I say to her, your daughter, I believe, is telling the truth. She's absolutely telling the truth. And what we need to look at now is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to leave him, report him? What are you going to do? Because this is really traumatizing to your child.
How did she take that? Did she believe you?
She just put her head in her hands and was like, oh, but he's told me if I leave him that he'll kill me. And that he also stockpiles guns. So there's weapons around the whole house.
Right, because that's making him sound trustworthy.
I know. And definitely not a person. You could just tell that she actually was afraid to leave him. And I just thought, I couldn't believe it. And I basically spent the rest of the session trying to convince her that, number one, she needs to report him to the police and make sure this guy doesn't have the opportunity to do it again. And number two, get her child the fuck out of that house with this man that stockpiles guns and told you that he's going to kill you if you leave him. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know what happened. I did report it to the correct government agency because as a therapist, that's what, if if someone is being harmed or is going to harm someone, as a therapist, you have a legal and moral obligation to report this. And so I did do that, and I never heard what happened.
Yeah, that's the thing with these situations, because you're not kept in the loop, so you don't know if they're safe or not. But at least that girl was heard, because that's the worst thing, that especially when it goes to court and the person's found not guilty, is that people feel that they're just not being believed. And so it doubles down on the pain. And imagine telling your mum, and you're living with someone who's an obvious criminal with stockpiling guns and threats to kill, and she's not believing you. I mean, that must be as sore, as painful as the abuse, to not be believed.
It is. It is. And I know for myself, I have told adults about things that men did with me as a child that were very inappropriate and not okay, and they brushed it under the rug. And for me, it made me think, well, number one, I'm obviously someone that people don't believe.
Yeah.
That why should I even say anything, and that people must think I just make stuff up. And number two, it made me feel like I really couldn't trust anybody but myself. That there was no one was going to save me but me. Yeah. And it was, in a way, I mean, not that I recommend this happening to you, but it made me very self-reliant and very feral with anyone who tried anything with me again, because I thought, no adult's going to come and rescue me. I'm going to have to rescue myself, because I learned to become very scary. Yeah. They find with any type of abuse or assault, the biggest factor in someone getting over it is whether or not there was someone to rescue them, whether or not there was someone that believed them, that got them out of that situation, that got them the help they needed. If that happens, you tend to get over the trauma very quickly. It, can not leave as a big of a mark, or I don't know what you would call it on the psyche, a wound. But if you're not believed, or you do tell and people don't do anything, it's much more traumatic for that person.
That makes sense, and ouch.
Yeah. So that's a happy story. And what's interesting was when I told that story, several other people told stories that were very upsetting.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that everyone then chipped in with their own stories.
Yeah.
And it was, you just couldn't quite believe some of them.
That's the thing, if you've got a group of people or your friends or whatever, and you do open up and share experiences, you'll be surprised how many people have these stories. Like in clinic, working with my clients, with women mostly, it's just so common. It's something I never conceived of as being as common as it is. You hear statistics, but that's just a number.
Yeah.
But meeting real people with real stories and hearing how often this shit happens, and that they're not believed, and you can see that sticks with them. I mean, once I was a kid, I got accused of crossing the road without the lollipop lady. So in Scotland, this lady comes and she has this like stop sign, and she'll walk into the middle of the road and tell the traffic to stop when the schools are coming out. And I got told that, oh, you didn't cross with the lollipop lady. And I hadn't done what I was accused of, but I remember like holding on to it for 30 years of not being believed. I did cross with the lady. I mean, oh my God, what would have happened if it was something actually bad? I mean, that's got to feel like rejection, like abandonment, like all sorts of crap. And that alone is going to cause damage.
Yeah, it's very triggering. So if anyone ever tells you, a child, someone close to you tells you that something has been happening, believe them. Very few people make it up. I just don't know why. I just hear story after story of women that as children were being abused and molested, and when they told their mothers or they told someone, they just brushed it under the rug and they don't do anything. Oh, we'll just put a lock on your door. That's not a fucking solution.
No.
You put a lock on that guy's dick is what you need to do, or his hands or whatever, or lock him up. I'm just sorry. I'm like, rah! But yeah, it's tragic. And I mean, some of the stories today were just made you actually feel physically sick.
Heartbreaking.
Because these people then, with what happened, they're reporting it to the correct authorities. They're doing everything they can, and nothing gets done.
No.
Oh, well, they're only 3 years old, so, they can't really testify in court, and they're not... There's something that has seriously gone wrong, at least in New Zealand. I don't know about the rest of the world, that children are not being protected in the way they should, and it's terrifying.
Scary.
And I am now completely depressed after listening to myself talk about this.
I think that we should watch some Looney Tunes or some South Park. Cheer up. Well, we've waited to tell this story because we knew it was heavy.
It's a downer.
Don't be a Debbie Downer, Caroline.
I am being a huge Debbie Downer, and I need to stop it. And I don't know how.
But this is an interesting story, and it is an important kind of story to share. But if in the interests of keeping things light, do you want to hear... I was going to say, do you want to hear about my neighbor's erection?
Yes. I would love to hear about your neighbor's erection. But then, is that more sexual assault? I don't know. What the fuck?
No, it's... No, I'll guide you guys to this. Just look up funny council complaints. And in the UK, a lot of the houses were built by the local councils. Mm-hmm. So in New Zealand, we have state houses. The government owns them and rents them cheap. In the UK, it was by the local councils. And so when people had a problem with their property, they would write to the council. And this guy from Nottingham in England collated a list of complaints. And my favourite one was somebody complaining that their neighbour has a huge erection in their garden. It's unsightly and dangerous. Please do something about it. So it's not really my neighbour's erection.
So I'm getting the feeling that it's not a physical erection, or no, well...
It's a structure.
It's a structure.
Something that's been put up, erected, yeah. I live for double entendre.
Double entendre, yes, it's good. Well, I have a complaint about a neighbor.
Oh, yes.
I don't know who it is, but they park their car literally right up against my driveway, and then they leave it there for 2 years, and they don't move it. The thing's covered in cobwebs. It's got flat tires, and I just want to flatten the tires if I can.
I feel like you need to have some kind of podcast that you can write into for advice on that situation.
Well, I have tried, we've contacted the council here, and I don't know what would be the equivalent in the States. I'm trying to think of what the equivalent in the States is. I don't know. Who do you pay your property taxes to? Is that to the county? I guess it's some type of county type of thing. Yeah. They don't have councils in the States. They have something else.
So it's like regional here. So your regional government, smaller than a state. It could be a city government, and you pay your property tax there.
Yeah.
And we call it here the council. But yeah, see, I'm reluctant to give you advice, Caroline, because what I suggest would probably be illegal, and then I'm going to get in trouble. But that's a tough one.
Well, because it makes it hard. If you're driving down the road and to turn into your driveway, if there's this car literally straight, to the edge of your driveway, it's hard to turn in. You've got people right behind you, and they never move it. They don't use it. And we put notes on it. Can you please move your car? Put it somewhere else. And it doesn't matter. Nothing ever gets done. Nothing happens. And I know, but obviously I don't have that bad of problems if what I get wound up about is a freaking car parked outside of my house.
When I speak to some people who have moved to New Zealand from other countries where life is pretty tough and money is pretty tight and things just aren't so great, when I tell stories like that, I get that whole first world problems. It doesn't diminish the fact that it is a problem for me right now. But it's
true. On Friday, I hired professional cleaners. Thought I'm going to start, having a cleaner come every 2 weeks, and
to get rid of the dead bodies of all the pedos you killed, or the...
Yeah, I was joking today that if I was a sociopath, my hobby would be to kill pedophiles.
But you mean cleaners not to clean up after a crime scene, but to clean at home.
No, not cleaning up the blood after I'm torturing these assholes. No, I don't, and I don't actually do that. That's a bad joke. But if I was a sociopath or psychopath, that's really what I would do. But maybe if I was a sociopath or a psychopath, I wouldn't care about people who hurt other people.
So what if you were like a superhero? What would your superpower be?
To kill pedophiles? No. If I was a superhero, my superpower would be to heal anybody of anything.
Oh, nice.
I want to be like Jesus. Now,
what would your outfit be?
I wouldn't wear a cape because capes are lame. Though when I picture myself, I'm wearing a stupid cape. I guess that's... Have you ever heard Dave Chappelle and his... I can't remember which special it is, but he talks about how he went to some Hollywood party and he's talking to people and you could tell they're kind of bored with talking to him, or he's talking to these movie people and he was saying, well, I have an idea for a movie. And he starts talking about a superhero. First one he tells, it's a gay superhero. But he always changes his outfit so no one can recognize him.
Resonates.
They're like, who are you? And he's like, it's me. But he's always changing his outfit so you can't recognize him. But the second one was a superhero, but he gets his power from touching a woman's vagina.
Okay.
And so if there's like a house burning or someone being attacked, he's like, please, miss, please, I just need to touch your vagina really quick so I can save these people. And these girls are like, ew, get away. And so he ends up raping them.
Because I need to save the people from the burning building.
Yeah, he's like, he rapes, but he saves, and he rapes to save. So is it really bad? It's just like, I mean, it's not funny. You wouldn't want a superhero. And he says all that he needs to do is just give the vagina just a couple of pats over the clothes. So it's not that big of a deal. But and he was saying how one of the guys was like, call me. That's a very good idea. Here's my card. Yeah. If I were a superhero, it would definitely be then I could just, whatever problem, whatever, if they had some physical illness or mental illness or some type of problem that needed to be healed, that I would heal it. What about you? What would your superpower be?
Well, when I do my online gaming, I'm usually the healer.
Yeah.
Like my screen name is Dr. Pie 81 if you're on Fortnite and you want to add me. And because I was useless at killing people, so I would just go in with the med kits and heal my team.
Yeah.
But if in real life, if I were to be a superhero, I'm just in love with like moving things with your mind. I just feel like it's so much fun. I probably get bored of it after a week, but I just feel like that's what I would do.
There's a new show on Netflix that I just started watching. I've got to watch it again. Or continue watching. I've just started watching the first one, but it's if I can remember. But it's about this girl who's kind of struggling in life. She's in high school. She's a bit geeky. But she realizes that she's got superpowers.
I saw a clip for that, an ad for that.
It looks really good.
Yeah, is it like a foreign language or something? I'm not sure.
No, it's American. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, my subtitles are in Spanish, so that's probably why. Yeah, anything to do with moving the mind. Like I used to watch Charmed as a teenager, with what's the girl from 90210 Beverly Hills?
Shannon Doherty. Has she died?
I don't know, but my brother bumped into her when she was in New Zealand one time.
Yeah.
And he knew that I was this big fan. She played this character in this TV series where she could move things with her mind. She was a witch. And my brother phoned me. He's like, Daryl, Prue Halliwell is in this bar in Takapuna. I was like, Prue Halliwell's in this bar. I said, look, I can't come there right now. He's like, do you want me to get an autograph for you?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. And so he waits and he plucks up the courage and he goes to ask her for an autograph. And she just slammed him. Can't you see I'm fucking eating? Why won't you leave me the fuck alone? And he was like, whoa.
Oh my God.
So she was angry. She was angry.
Wow.
I'm like, I get it. Like,
so that's not... Are you talking about Prue? Or are you talking about...
Prue Halliwell's the character played by Shannon Doherty. So
so it's Shannon Doherty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's this Prue chick you're talking about? See, I didn't watch Charmed.
Well, yeah, so Shannon Doherty is the actress and she laid into him. I'm like, I get it. You're famous. You don't like people harassing you when you're out. at the same time, it comes with the territory that people are going to ask you politely for autographs. And isn't it easier just to quickly flick a signature on? Or, I don't know, just say, sorry, not right now.
Yeah, but thank you.
But thank you. You don't have to be a complete whore about it. So I stopped liking her.
I never really did.
But I still hope you can heal her with your magic powers if she's still alive.
I know. She does have cancer. I don't know if she's passed away. Yeah, I don't wish her any ill will.
No.
But, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that nastiness. No, I shouldn't even say it. I won't say it.
No, I don't think like nastiness causes cancer. But what I think is if you're going to be, when you're angry and you hold anger inside, that's bad for your immune system. It's bad for your sleep. It's bad for your emotions. And yeah, and it could be a chicken and an egg situation. Shit happened, made her feel stressed, causes ill health.
Yeah.
So send her love and light. Love and light to everybody that's angry.
I think she's still alive. I don't know. Karma's a bitch. Then you die. No, that's terrible. That's terrible. Just kidding. Ha ha ha.
Life's a bitch and then you marry one.
Yeah. Well, that won't happen to you. Oh, no, you totally could marry a bitch, actually.
I have been married, and nah.
To a bitch.
Nah, he was great. but he was sassy.
Sassy's different.
Yeah, sassy's not bitch.
Well, I am a bitch. What I have learned to is embrace my inner bitch. Because she keeps me safe, and she gets shit done. And if people try to mess with me, honey, no.
Yeah.
Wrong girl.
I like that.
So there's nothing wrong with being a bit of a bitch now and then, but yeah, it's really, you got to pick your time and place.
Yeah.
The show. I am not okay with this.
With what?
The show. That's the name of the show.
I thought it was What the Fuck Stories and Advice.
No. No, the one about the girl who's found out she's got superpowers. I've just watched the first one, but it seems very, very good. Yeah, I am not okay with this. I think it's by the same people that did It's the End of the Fucking World or something like that. Was there another show?
Yeah, I've seen that advertised.
I watched a little bit of it, and that one I found a bit dark, but this looks really good.
I'm going to check that out after I've finished binging, which I'll tell you at the end when we do reviews, but...
Well, we're doing a review now, Daryl.
Can I do a review now?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
I just did one. Well, not really. I watched half a show.
The flexibility of this is amazing. Okay, so I am in love with Cable Girls.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's set in Madrid in 1928. So you got all the, sexy women with the cool 1920s outfits and all that kind of mystery and intrigue with the upstairs downstairs kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And it's just before the kind of civil war and the coup d'etat, and you've got the Cable Girls who are...
Civil War?
Yeah.
What Civil War?
In Spain.
Oh, okay. I'm like, the Civil War was like way longer than that. I don't know what year it was, but yeah, okay. The Spanish Civil War. Yeah. Yep, sorry.
Oh, it's when they... Either way, it's when they got rid of the monarchy and installed a military dictatorship.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously it's just before like the Great Depression and all that kind of stuff. So it's a cool kind of time period that it's set in. And obviously the phone's this new toy. And, everybody, if you dial a number, it's only 3 numbers to get where you want to go.
That's crazy.
Which was the same in my village when I grew up.
Really?
Yeah, 3-number phone numbers.
What?
Yeah.
We had 7-number phone numbers.
That was small.
And that wasn't even the area code either. Yeah.
Wow. So the show, I won't say too much about it because on the surface it looks like just women chatting and hanging out, but actually there's really cool multi-level plots within it, with including things like blackmail, there's murder, there's sexual tension between different characters, mysteries, and also introduces some cool topics like what it was like to be a lesbian in 1928 in Madrid and stuff. So yeah, give it a go. I've watched season 1. I finished that. I could not sleep last night because there's a song that plays at the end of season 1 and it was on a loop in my head, keeping me awake.
And what's the lyric that was in your head?
Well, it's in Spanish.
Oh.
And actually...
So is it all in Spanish and you watch it in subtitles? Or you're learning? Well, you're learning to speak
Yes,
Spanish.
I'm trying to learn Spanish. My partner speaks Spanish as native language. And so I'm learning. But actually the line that was stuck in my head, I haven't read it to translate it because I listened to it while I was driving here to school this morning. But I think it translated as I have drunk something. And last night I had a drink. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like my subconscious, because how I feel about learning languages is you should do it unconsciously, like when you're a child. So I don't spend a lot of time on apps or in classes. I just keep watching TV and listening to songs until my unconscious makes those connections and I start thinking in the language. And I did that for French and I got very, very fluent, very, very young and easily. And this is the 5th language that I've learned to communicate in. And so when these songs get stuck in my head, I was like, what does this mean? And it's like, oh, that's my unconscious actually telling me something in the language, which means I'm learning the language.
So your subconscious was like, I've had a drink.
I've had a drink, and that was, not good for me on a work night, So
Yes. Oh, no. Well, that's interesting. I took 6 years of French, and I speak nada. Now, what was interesting was I went to France, and I picked it up within like a week. I was speaking French, but then lost it again as soon as I wasn't.
Yeah, it's hard. Like in UK, we're so close to France, and we used to drive there every year, and the French was great. But moving to New Zealand, I so rarely meet a French person, and if I do, they speak fluent English and happily.
And they laugh at you if you try to speak French with them. That's what I found.
I got laughed out of shops in France when I was 12 for speaking perfect French but not knowing one word, and I could understand them when they were laughing at me and pointing and joking. I'm like, God's sake, dudes, I'm trying here, give me a break. But in New Zealand, there's no one to practice with, so I've lost a lot of it. But that's what made learning Indonesian and Chinese such a pleasure. Because you say one word and you can be completely wrong, and all they'll do is encourage you. Like, yes, that's amazing. Oh my God, you speak some of my language. And they feel an instant bond with you. And so I think that if you're scared to learn a language and practice it, if it's French, it's because, yeah.
Well, I found that when I was in France, everyone was lovely. And they all went, oh, American, you know what I mean? And they would all just switch to English. But at least I made the effort. And then rather than a lot of other Americans who come in and start shouting at people just louder and louder in English, and they don't even make the effort. But I think because I made the effort, people were friendly and polite. And I didn't have anyone be rude to me. Oh, except for when I went into Notre Dame.
Ooh.
And I don't know if I've told this story, actually. I went into Notre Dame, and I'm trying to buy some rosary beads.
Yeah.
And the woman would not look at me. She would not make eye contact with me. She ignored me completely. She'd wait on other people. And I'm like, hello? So I just was like, fuck, these French people are rude. See, I finally was in contact with someone really rude to me. So I walk outside, and my husband, I'm like, God, she was so rude. I can't believe it. And he's like, oh my God, your shirt. And I'm like, what? And I'm wearing this t-shirt and it says Baby Satan 333.
Okay. What does that mean?
Well, I don't know what it means. Like Satan 666.
Yeah.
It's just actually a number of female empowerment. It did not mean the sign of the devil, but the church made it the sign of the devil. But I digress. But I had the word Satan on my short. So you could see why she was just like, you heathen, or I don't know what you would call me. Thought I was the Antichrist or and I'm this rude American being like, wait on me, I want to buy some rosary beads, and I have Baby Satan written on my t-shirt.
Oh yeah, like it didn't kind of match.
No. She was just like, you don't exist. So it was completely and utterly my fault of why.
I went into a shop once in France. Well, I went to go into a shop. I was on a school trip with a bunch of kids from Scotland. I think I was about 13 at the time. They wouldn't listen to the shop. Nope, can't come in. And we're like, why? Like, just can't come in, no English in. And as soon as I explained, I'm Scottish, they were like, they just smiled. Oh, sorry, and you guys can come in. So we were refusing entry because we're English. But when we explained, actually, no, in fact, we are accusations. We're Scottish. We could go in. It was fine to go in. Yeah.
Well, that works if you pretend you're Canadian, I find, for me. Oh, no, I'm Canadian. I'm not American. And they're like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Don't Canadians steal hats? Or is that a myth?
I've never heard that.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a myth.
They steal hats? I've never heard of that. Yeah, I just find that people that don't live in America tend to have certain views about Americans, and Canadians get kind of they're not seen in the same way in the public view. So a lot of people, I talk to anyone in New Zealand or pretty much any other country in the world, they all go, "Oh, Canadian?" And I go, "Oh, no, American." And they're like, "Oh, okay." But they always ask if you're Canadian first because they don't want to offend the Canadians by asking if they're American.
I got to admit, I do that because I can't tell the difference sometimes between, say, somebody from like north of USA and then from Canada.
Oh, they can. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like people from Vancouver, for instance, sound just like people on the West Coast. I mean, there's literally it's a line separating it, but you're in the same area. So yeah, they can sound exactly the same, except for when they say about. Something.
What I listen for is if I hear somebody that I think might be from USA, but they say some words like Scottish. Oh, Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Canadian. Scottish twang.
And Canadians have very good senses of humor. I think so. So, anyways, yeah.
But we love you, Canada.
Yeah.
And America. We love you too.
We love you too, America. It's my home country, and hopefully it's not all turning to shit. We have hope for you yet. So, well, I think that we have just rambled and talked complete and utter rubbish today.
So give us some stories, bitches. If you give us some stories, then we can, lovely people, then we will be less likely to ramble and more likely to amble.
Yes. I think the thing is we have been teaching all weekend. So if you like the show, please share it with your friends and give us a review or a few stars or 5 stars.
5 stars and 5 questions. 5 stories.
5 stories. Send us some stories because your story needs to be told. And I know you have some very interesting ones.
And we're happy for it to be anonymous. We're happy to change some details for you or for you to change some details so that you can identified. But if you've got a story that's just like creepy or freaky or like weird or what the fuck or just interesting, send it to us and we'll send it out. We'll tell it to the peeps.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
There goes a sight from my soul.